Hello to all my fellow chaps, and welcome to the Chaps Chats Easter Special. Our guests today are Rory O'Regan, Dee Keating, and Tom Walsh, and they are going to be telling us all about themselves and their rugby path from the beginning to present. So sit back and enjoy. Okay, our next guest today for the Chaps Chats episode for Easter weekend is one of our under-20s, Rory O'Regan. How you doing,
Hi,
Rory?
how are you doing?
Smiling as always, aren't you, Rory?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Rory, just going to ask you a few questions just so our club can get to know you. So please feel free to tell us all about yourself. I'm just going to make you the center of attention now. So here we go. So, Rory, so my first question would be for you is, where did you first start playing rugby and at what age?
I was about 4, I'd say, playing in Galwegians back out west in Galway.
Or from the west, so you are.
Yeah. From Galway. Yeah, I started playing when I was like 4 and just sort of kept playing throughout my life.
Ah. How long were you at Galwegians for?
I was there until about first year, and then I went to Clongowes, but
Okay.
up until then I was playing with Galwegians the whole way.
All right.
I stopped for like a year to play a bit of soccer, but
We
didn't
we
didn't
won't
last
hold that
long.
against you.
Yeah,
You,
no, and I'm not. That's definitely not my best.
you came back to the proper sport. But
Yeah.
just when you were with Galwegians, did you have much success at Galwegians, or did you at different age groups, or was there any players of note that are now in the academy that were in Connacht
Oh,
maybe?
not really. I don't know if we're old enough just yet to
Oh,
have anyone big up. But yeah, no, we were all right. We were actually pretty good. But
yeah.
like back then, it was pretty poor level. You know, like just get it off 9 and run.
Unstructured is the best way to play.
Yeah, yeah,
So you said there you played for Clongowes.
yeah.
Yeah. So what years did you play rugby in Clongowes?
So yeah, I played all 6 years
Okay.
of school. Yeah, just playing rugby. Everyone sort of played no matter what
Yeah.
level you were at. You know what I mean? Like you just sort of played a bit of rugby. It's good. Good way
So
to get to know
so
everyone.
what level in Clongowes did you get to? Like, did you get the seconds team, first team?
I played a bit of first this year, or
Okay.
last year in 6th year. But
Okay.
I would have played a lot of seconds, some
Yeah.
thirds as well. You know.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, great. It's probably the best part of Columbus, to be honest.
Yeah.
Was the
Uh,
rugby.
then you have a few of your pals after joining you at the 20s now as well, the likes of James
Yeah.
Coonan and Mr. McKeown.
Well, Mr. McKeown brought us all along with
Yeah,
him.
I know. He just dragged us all along, which has been good for the club. We got new blood coming in, and
Yeah.
it's a good thing to have at the 20s level. So just did you go any further with rugby? Any rep sides or anything like that?
No, unfortunately, no, haven't represented yet. Anyways.
Scouts weren't at the games for you to see how good you were. That's what
Yeah.
we'll
No.
put it down to. So what, Rory? Just what position do you actually play, or is there positions you play?
Yeah. Well, I play hooker mainly, but I sort of had enough of hooker. But I'd like to play in the back row.
Everyone wants to play back row now. It seems to be the new fashion sense, more fashionable
Yeah.
position. Used to be centre, now it's back row because I think it's the likes of Josh van der Fleer and Scott Penny are
Yeah.
making it look really fancy now.
Yeah. Well, I was a centre back in the day, back in
Yeah,
first
see,
year.
why do none of you guys tell me this at training? Like we could give you see what you're like in the centre and see how we get on.
Yeah, I'll take a few minutes in centre.
I'll talk to Peter and see what happens.
Yeah.
So position wise, is there any position you would have loved to have played that you haven't played yet?
Well, 10's always a nice. I was 10's a good position to play.
Forwards
Uh,
always say that.
yeah.
It's actually
Actually,
not.
second row second row. I'd like to play.
What height are you?
I like to say I'm 6 foot.
I
But
tell you, all the forwards say they want to play 10, but they completely forget it's you guys coming after the 10. So you're going
yeah,
to be pretty much hunted down by the back rows and the bigger forwards all the time. So it's not as
yeah,
glamorous as you may think.
yeah.
So
No, it's yeah.
yeah. Um, is there any other positions you might have played, like apart from center, hooker, and back row? Just they've been your kind of
Yeah,
three main positions.
they've been it for me really. Mainly, to be honest, mainly hooker since about third year,
Okay.
which is
And
not a great position. I don't think.
I know I played it myself back in He's back in under 13s, under 14s. I haven't played it since. I was like, nope, I want out of here.
Yeah,
So I got out of there. So there we go. Plus, also, it helped that I didn't actually grow any further than 5'9", so they stuck me at
yeah.
scrum half. Um, so on the pitch, what would be your favorite thing about playing rugby?
Favorite thing?
Yeah,
Ooh, I don't know. Just it's good fun. Like
yeah,
just enjoyable to get out and play. I guess
yeah,
physicality is fun, but you can sort of
yeah.
take it or leave. Like I'd love a game of tip as well.
Sh-
So
Well, you're lucky that you're saying that because there's a new touch program being brought in countrywide. So we're going to try and
oh
get
really?
U20s boys down. Oh, definitely have a bit of
That'd be good.
fun. Yeah. Um, Off the pitch, what would be your favorite thing? Is there anything?
Um, I guess the social side. It's fun to talk about social side of it. During school, we'd always be talking about
Yeah,
the game and like who we're playing next, who we're going
yeah,
up against. But yeah, just the social side, something to talk about.
yeah. Like a lot of the guys have said it's the social end of like it's the friends you make from playing rugby is one of the key aspects that
Yeah,
kind of get people into the game.
yeah. Actually,
Um,
yeah. So the friends you make are great. Just
oh,
playing beside someone's good.
yeah. I'm sure you'll have friends for life anyway from all the boys from Clongowes and even the lads
Yeah,
from the 20s now soon.
yeah, yeah.
So just what would be your favorite memory or moment of rugby? Like, would it have been a match you were a spectator at, or a game you were actually playing in?
Um, well, I'd say actually my favorite moment was probably this year. We beat Black Rock at home, but
Big one.
it was like on the pitch. I don't know. There's just a load of people there. Like I don't know, my family was there. I don't know. It was just good moment.
Yeah,
People like, do you know Peter Lane's dad?
yeah.
He was almost in tears when he saw it. I don't know. It was a good moment.
Uh, you must have done something well to bring a man of Mr.
Yeah.
Lane to tears. You must have done really well. But like, what was actually the score of that game? Was it a close one, or
Oh,
did you beat it by a bit?
you should put me on the spot. I think it was 21-17. It was
Oof,
close. Like it wasn't
well,
definitely wasn't a
yeah,
hockey.
no. I tell you, taking a scalp off Black Rock is a big one. Anyway, like, well, you boys at Clongowes would be up there with the top four, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's always a good match between the two of you.
Mm.
Um, and my next question would be actually for you. So, any suggestions you would have for a younger player who's just had to coming into under 13s and they're starting to get into where they're going to be in a position for a good through the youth section? Any suggestions
Um,
for a young hooker or a young back row player?
yeah, I guess. Well, obviously throwing would be the go-to if you're a hooker. Just
Yeah,
nail your throw. But I don't know. I always feel getting a bit bigger. I thought I've always been a bit small.
yeah,
I haven't really done much in the gym. I haven't really done like gone to the gym a lot, lift a lot of weights. But if I was to change something about what I did, I'd go to the gym a bit more,
bit
just
more.
bulk up a bit, because
Okay.
like size does help.
And just on the throwing thing, is there any specific tips you would have, like training stuff you would do yourself at home, any target practice kind of stuff you would do?
I used to in Clones with basketball hoops, so I'd
Okay.
go down there in the evenings and just throw it against a hoop that's up in the sports hall.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, that's
Yeah. Have you
the
been?
other thing. I was always told just throw the way you want to throw. I don't know, like don't change your throw because someone else throws that. I don't know. I don't really know
That
much about it.
that's actually a really good thing because a lot of people try to copy the techniques of certain players and it doesn't work out for them because they don't feel comfortable. But you're right. Do what feels comfortable for you and just technique. Same as the scrum half pass myself. I know I tried copying Peter Stringer, but no one can pass that way. Only he
Yeah.
can do it. But
Were
so
you
I
doing
end
the
up.
dive, the jumping
No, no,
pass?
no. Trying to pass the ball while it's still pretty much pointed, like up the like
Oh yeah, yeah,
end on
yeah,
end
yeah.
kind of thing, where it's pretty much hovering across. No one can pass that way, like except for Peter Stringer. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right there. Like get your own get your own technique down. Get
Mm.
into your own groove. You're dead right there with the throws. Um. So, but Roy, just I'm going to ask you a little bit kind of fog ones. Just have you enjoyed your time so far playing with the under 20s? I know we have
Yeah,
only had officially one game under our belts, but have you been enjoying being part of the Wanderers club?
yeah, definitely. It's actually been great. The game was obviously enjoyable.
Yeah,
Um, but even just the numbers, like there was training sessions during December, freezing cold. There was like 40 odd players there.
yeah. We've
Which
been
sort of
getting
showed,
massive difference to compared to last year from what I heard anyway. But it is a good user, a good bunch of lads, and it's great that Jack has brought a lot of his Clongowes friends down.
Yeah.
It's good to have you all there, as well as the other lads from the likes of, for example, William coming from Black Rock, and a few guys like Saul and Ben coming from the high school. It is great to have a good kind of mix of guys from different schools and coming in and joining the club, and almost building for the future first team kind of thing. Potentially, of you guys hopefully moving up to that. But Rory, thank you very much for coming on today.
No problem.
Have a lovely Easter. And don't worry, I'm not going to do any pranks on you, even though it is April Fool's Day. You're safe.
That's good. I was worried.
Have a good Easter weekend, and thank you very much.
Cheers.
So today we have on Chats, we have Dee Keating, one of our women's senior players. Dee, thanks for joining me today, representing the women's team. As usual, the women's team are always the most diligent and also the most well behaved. So I'm just going to make you. The girls have said, Jess and Katie and Alice have set the bar pretty high. So we'll see how we get on here now. So I'm just going to make you the center of attention here now. So Dee, my first question would be for you is, where did you first start playing rugby, and at what age?
So this is a very easy question for me, because I only started playing rugby about 3 years ago with Wanderers. So
a late
might be short and sweet.
Listen, it doesn't matter what age you take it up. We're always happy to have new members and new players.
It started out, actually, funny enough, as a bet. My boss bet me €500 to start. The bet was something to do with playing 5 full games of rugby. So my colleague Anne, she works with me and she plays with Wanderers as well, and she brought me down. And what Mark didn't know is that I joined in a year that they were struggling for numbers. So I joined a team that was always going to throw me in because we didn't have enough players to field the team. So I wasn't long filling up by 5 full games. So
perfect opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
where have you played? Like, obviously, you kind of covered. My next question would be, like, who have you played for? You've just played for Wanderers yourself, but have you been a member of any other club, or were you kind of affiliated with any other club before Wanderers?
No, I'm from Limerick, so we're a big hurling town where I'm from, or village. And I love rugby, work for World Rugby, and I follow Munster to the death of me, unfortunately.
We won't hold that against you.
You don't know how hard it is for me to stay quiet at this time.
Probably should have waited another week after the win Leinster took over the weekend. But
I've had to mute all the WhatsApp groups. It's just not right. But yeah, I've always loved rugby. I got involved through Wanderers, through N, and kind of never looked back. It would have been always a GA background I came from, but with following Munster and stuff, I always would have been in the back of my head. And then I eventually got the courage at 29 years of age. But anyway.
Sure, listen, I've known lads who've taken up rugby in their late 30s, and they love it as well from my old club. Just what position do you play? Just kind of give us, or as we might say, what positions have you not played?
Easier for me to say that. So what I've not played in is, I've never played hooker, I've never played scrum half or fullback. That's it.
So you've covered a fairly wide range of areas for us. So, like, out of all the positions you have played, what has been your favorite?
My favorite, probably, I started off as kind of a centre, and then I was moved out at, and I loved both of those positions.
Okay.
And last season I was kind of thrown into the forwards a bit, and that was great. Like, I really haven't hated any positions I've played in. Maybe wing a little bit because I'm not exactly the quickest. But I haven't ever really hated any of the positions I've played in. Not really, no.
Oh, cool. Would you have liked to play hooker in the front row, or is that like?
Yeah, I'd love to have played in all the positions. That's my goal. 3 more.
Just tick them all off there.
Alice, if you're listening.
So this, my next one would be, what do you enjoy most about rugby, both on and off the field?
Oh God, I know it's so cliche to say, and everybody has probably said it already, but it's definitely the social element. I guess that's more prominent for me, given that I started at such a late age. I wouldn't have had it kind of grown up and stuff. So for me, it was a social outlet coming up to Dublin, and I wasn't didn't have much of a cohort of friends up there, and that kind of completely changed once I joined Wanderers. There was a proper little family and stuff, so definitely the social side is brilliant. But what I love, like, and from having played GA and stuff, I just love the team aspect of it, and that there's a real camaraderie there. There's a real teamness. You do anything for each other, and there's a proper kind of a real family feel to it. So that's definitely the part that I'd love the best.
That's pretty much the very similar answer to all the other guys have given, and it's great to see the consistency with that, because it means that it's not just something someone's saying. Like it flows throughout the club. On the field, is there any certain aspect of the game you like about rugby?
I love that it's a kind of a free for all, as in anyone, any shapes or sizes or abilities. It really is like, a lot of the time you think that you're not going to be good enough because you're not quick enough or you're not strong enough, or whereas there's a position for everybody. I think in rugby it really kind of it's really welcoming in that respect, and we've seen that as well with recruitment, and some of the girls that have come in, they've come in from all different backgrounds, and some that have never played rugby before, never played sports before, and they just get settled in straight away and they just give it a go, and it's just brilliant for that. Yeah. That's probably the aspect I love the most.
It's a great sport that if you come from any other sporting background, you can kind of transition quite easily.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we see all the girls playing for the ladies playing for the sevens, a lot of them coming from Gaelic football or hurling backgrounds, and then we have some of the lads, like I know Adam Byrne who plays for Leinster. He comes from a Gaelic football background himself and didn't take up rugby until he was like 17. So that's a really good point, that there's a lot of room for people in rugby.
There's no problem going from rugby back, I think, because you tackle left, right, and centre, you might stay along the pitch.
It is. Well, I'll be honest, it's very hard to go back from rugby to Gaelic football because the lung capacity, you need it. So just my next one would what would be your favourite memory or moment from playing with Wanderers, or even at an international game, or at a Munster game, I'd have to say.
08, 06, 08, maybe. No,
you joke. God's sake, Munster fans will never let that go.
We only have two. No, but with Wanderers, it's for me, it's probably the cup or the plate final that we played in my first year, and we got to that definitely by default. I don't think we actually won any matches going up to it, but we got a bye in one round, and then somebody couldn't field the team in another round, and lo and behold, we ended up in a final. And we didn't win, but we really gave it our all. We were really up for it, and there was the kind of I suppose the dignitaries with a final, that that the team runs out, and there's all the medal presentation and everything afterwards, and then of course the night out afterwards was great. But that's probably the one that stands out the most is that final we got to play in down in Donnybrook as well, which was cool. So yeah,
lovely playing on that AstroTurf, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we were on the side pitch, so
side pitch. Oh, right.
The other one, but it's still very good.
I'd prefer playing on the grass pitch than playing on the AstroTurf, because it's just you get burned to your legs are just destroyed after AstroTurf.
It hasn't been apparently elbows and knees. It's good.
Yeah, there you go. Just lastly, any training suggestions for anyone? Like, you've covered a numerous range of positions, so surely you have to have some sort of little insight that one key skill goes across all those positions you've played. Is there any suggestions you have for a younger player playing in any of those positions that you've played in?
Oh God, I would say probably the biggest one for me is working on just your passing skills and your catching skills. Like, even if I know there's those balls that you can kind of throw against the wall now, and that's such a funny thing. Again, for me growing up, it would have all been hitting the slitter against the wall and that kind of thing, and kicking the football against the wall. And I think something similar to that for rugby.
Developing the hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, exactly. That hand-eye coordination, you can't beat it. If you can pass a ball, if you can catch a ball, well, you're halfway through. I think that's probably the biggest skill. Like, you can work on your fitness and everything like that, and strength and all these other things, but I think
if you can't pass a ball, you're kind of missing a key element.
Simple. The fundamentals, like if you can throw it and you can catch it, then you're flying it.
Lovely. Dee, thanks very much for talking to me today.
No worries, thanks, Jared.
Nice, and it was brief to the point, and I love it. But it is just great having people come on and telling us their background, so our young players, both boys and girls, can actually see they can get up to the senior level and represent Wanderers. And it's great to get to know who the players are currently representing us. Thanks very much.
Yeah, well, it's brilliant. Wanderers is a great club, so I'm more than happy to do it.
And a happy Easter as well.
Yeah, you too. Thanks,
Right.
Ninja.
Guys, today we have our first and seconds representative as our next guest, who is Tom Walsh. Tom, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Willinger. How's things?
Busy. As everyone else should be, huh? But listen, thanks for coming on today. I'm just going to ask you a few questions so the guys get to know who you are and what you're about. So I'm going to make you the centre of attention now, so don't be shy.
No bother.
So, Tom, just my first question would be for you is, where did you first start playing rugby and at what age?
So originally I'm from County Meath, but Dad is a former Wanderer, and I would have remembered like really young playing in Wanderers at the end of like Dad's games basically. But I actually took to rugby later than most, so it wasn't really. I touched it like in around Navan a few times at underage, but I was more Gaelic football growing up, and it wasn't until I went to boarding school in Castleknock that then kind of rugby took over.
All right. So you've so that'll be leading into my next question there now is so you've played. Did you play much rugby in Castleknock, or were you in the junior cup sides or anything like that?
Yeah, so from second year I played cup rugby. So first year was my only non-cup year. So yeah, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth year played. Didn't have much success, but we had serious players at different teams. Junior cup final in second year, was on the squad for that, and then third year we got to the semi-final, got knocked out, and then fourth year I would have played second row with Devon Toner, and a team then that had 5 interprovincial players
There you go.
from Castleknock, which is extraordinary at the time.
Yeah.
But it actually led to players going through at that time. So Dev obviously has gone on to do unreal things at Leinster, and another player who went on to play professionally would have been Rory Murphy, who was a prop who went and played at the Brumbies, came back and played at Ulster and finished up a couple of years ago through injury. But yeah, it was a kind of a golden year for Castleknock, but we never really kind of got to quarter final in my 6th year, and we probably should have beaten Mary's, but a missed tackle in the last minute cost us the game.
Everybody would love to see Mary's get knocked out regularly anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately we didn't do it that year. But
I know Castleknock have always been a sleeping giant, in my opinion. These have had some seriously good
I
players
think,
come
and
through.
and the year like last year, just before COVID came, like they they got knocked out in the semi-final prior to the All Kildare final that would have happened if COVID hadn't come around. But I believe like there's serious work being done. I think Adrian Flavin and Jeremy Staunton, so a few kind of ex-pros that are in there now. They're both teaching, I think. Well, Adrian Flavin isn't, but Jeremy Staunton's a maths teacher and doing great stuff there. So
like they're setting it up nicely for the future years to come anyway. But he played alongside Devon Toner. Was he as tall as he is now?
Yeah, he, like genuinely, if you looked at pictures, the only thing you'd say is he's probably filled out more, and that's obviously from being a professional, but he's been as big as he was the whole way. Yeah.
Makes nearly every man on the field look small.
Yeah, and then he's obviously a Meath man as well, and I would have actually played Gaelic football growing up against him, and we always were like, they've got that big fella, and you can I remember games back that far and remembering him, and then all of a sudden you're in school with him, and then he's gone on to play winning Grand Slams.
Seen him on
for
TV
Ireland,
nearly every weekend.
Yeah.
But just let us know, what position would you have played as a kid? Like, was there any change in positions, or did you always kind of play the one position?
Yeah, big changes. So would have kind of started out in the backs, kind of centre out half, and in first year, and then kind of just probably naturally I was kind of, more interested and bigger and interested in the physical side. So towards the end of first year, I think I played a bit in the forwards, and then all of a sudden I'm training with the junior hoop team in Castleknock and playing back row. So kind of, just from there it's been always back row, second row for parts of it, but mostly 6 or 8.
Is there any position you would have loved to have played that you didn't get the chance to, or is there? Or
I know you'll probably say all the forwards just say that, but I'd like 100%. I should have had a bit more time at out half. But we had a great out half in my year in school, Brian Collins, and he actually went into the Leinster Academy after school and stuff. So he played. I played Leinster schools and Irish under 19s then, kind of during school, and then the first year out of school. And Brian made Danny Cipriani in the under 19 World Cup look a bit. He was the kind of poster boy for the World Cup. It was in Dubai in 2006, and Danny Cipriani was on like billboards all around the city because this World Cup was on, and Collins made him look average. An average. Yeah.
That's not something that happens to Danny Cipriani.
My out half dreams faded. We beat England in that match in the World Cup. So Collins scored all the points in that game as well. So he was actually meant to come to Wanderers 2 years ago, and he's now head coach in Balbriggan. So
all right.
Yeah.
He's up there. I think he's up there working alongside the current under 20s head coach, Peter O'Donnell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The two of them are there working away.
So just moving on to our next question would be, what do you enjoy most about playing? Be like both on and off the field. So like you said there, you started to get into the physicality side when you were younger. Is that still the case, or is there something else you just kind of love more?
I went to Australia and played a bit of rugby in Australia, and I've also lived in London and played for Effingham and Leatherhead in London, and I just think like I've kind of grown into kind of just liking the physical side, or like I like battles. So like I love to just pick a kind of a duel in a match, and if you get the better of your opposition, of that person that you're looking to just be the better of, so usually like I'll try and be the better of the 6 if I'm playing that, like number 6, and it's just like kind of a thing where I just try and do better than them. And usually playing 6, it's a bit physicality and throwing your weight around at ruck time and stuff. So I think it's just, that's one of my kind of more preferred things. It's just the nitty gritty stuff of playing 6, and I suppose just those duels that you get like you usually come across them very early in a game, and it's kind of one of my things is just to be the better of that duel. And I think that's probably one of the more preferred things. I suppose I get a kind of slagging off some of the lads for just being like kind of no bullshit, kind of blunt, and that's kind of the way it'd be. Kind of certain opposition players as well. So so
Yeah.
and so then off the field, I think off the field then, it's definitely like the camaraderie and the friendships. And in Wanderers, like, we have such a strong tradition, and like I've seen it through Dad growing up, and I like all the lads that he knows now in the club, and I think like we've had a good few years there where the same group of nucleus of players has been around. I think like there's great crack and friendship, and that's like definitely a thing that going into the future, when I eventually hang up the boots, whenever it is, it'd be the friendships that you'd have afterwards and meeting up for a pint or whatever, Wanderers games or internationals or stuff like that. But that'd be the off the field stuff.
That's a very similar answer. For the off the field concept is that it's the group dynamic and the social part of the rugby that really gets people interested. But I really like the point you made about the picking a jewel in the game. Like I think that's a great motivator for young players.
Yeah, like, and it like, if you think about it from different positions as well, like if you're an out half, you obviously have different things that you want to be better than the opposition out half, and like that could be goal kicking or kicks for touch, etc. And if you're making more of them and being more successful, you're obviously putting the team ahead, depending on whatever part of the game it is. But yeah, just that'd be, I'd always kind of eye up the number 6 as the kickoff is coming, and see what's down the road, because I think playing in the back row especially, there's obviously requirements of you, and I think if you can just be better, if you can be better than your opposition and the rest of the back row are like that, you'll generally be successful. So definitely for young people, I think it's definitely something that probably doesn't get coached, because it's not, obviously it's a team game, there's the way the team plays and everything, but just something in the back of the head to always be better than your opposition, the opposite number or whatever. So
give you the extra edge on the day. That's actually really interesting. So just my next question will be for you is, what's your favorite rugby memory or moment? You probably kind of already alluded to it there with the after game social events and stuff like that, or even at an international. Is there anything that really stood out? Just one memory that stood out for you?
Is this like anything, or my own playing? Like
anything you want. Like you could have been a spectator or even yourself. Like
there's been a few, like I suppose in the last few years, having played a couple of games in the Aviva, and like you have my wife, who we just got married before Christmas, my wife been there, and like your parents been there and stuff, because it's the home of Irish rugby, I suppose, and you get to play there representing Wanderers, which is great experience. And then from a rugby thing, I think, was being in the Aviva the night that Ireland beat the All Blacks was one of the best atmospheres I think I've ever experienced.
You were one of the lucky 53,000 people?
We were lucky, thanks to tickets and Wanderers. But like I was there with Frida and both my mom and dad, and it was just incredible. Like when the final whistle went, there was people nearly jumping over seats, hugging people.
It was a great moment, and you're a lucky man for being there.
Yeah, I think I am, for sure. But definitely one of my best memories of rugby in more recent times.
Yeah. And just finally, is there any training suggestions you would have for a young boy or girl in playing in the back row or playing in the second row that you would have done yourself, or even wished you kind of started doing that you've been doing now?
I think like I was only up in the club on Saturday morning last. There's a few. I'm not criticizing them, but there was a few parents there with their kids, obviously minis or whatever, and they were doing fitness with them and stuff. And I just think, as a young person, get the ball in people's hands and get them just playing and kicking and doing everything off either side, or you know, doing things that are like game related and running with the ball in two hands and stuff. I just thought that it's not, I'm not criticizing them, but they were only young kids, and I think they'd be better off with getting a ball, kicking to a friend, passing it, practicing side steps and so all the basics.
Yeah.
And I think like I was lucky, I played a lot of Gaelic football growing up, and it's definitely helped me to this day, like having that hand-eye coordination with the ball. And for rugby players at an early age, it's just get the ball in a young person's hands and get them just passing it and throwing it around, and because they'll enjoy it a lot more that way. I think as a young person, just get out there and
Let
like,
them play.
Play ball, yeah. There's nothing better, and like at an early age, if you get that kind of love of holding it and passing the ball, I think you get the basics and you get the kind of things that come naturally then when you do get like progress into the more kind of competitive nature of rugby when you get a bit older.
Yeah. Well, like I'd agree. Like kids seem to have a natural fitness level anyway. They're already naturally hyper, so they live off that. So probably better off teaching them the ball.
Yeah, but maybe that's skills. What the parents were. That's what the parents were probably doing, was probably taking a bit of energy out of them. But no, I just like I see it. You'd probably like if you read up about some of the best players around at the moment. Like if you look at Dan Carter's documentary, he was just kicking balls when he was 6-7 years old through goalposts, and look how he turned out. So
Aaron Smith just does about 50 passes a week each day off each hand. He was made do as a kid, so
so it's like but it has to be fun as well. And you probably know in your line of work, like it has to be fun, and I don't think there's anything better than maybe just heading down to the pitch in Wanderers Marion Road and having a few lads boot the ball, girls or boys, just kicking the ball around and getting that kind of natural grasp of it. So I think if you're a young girl or boy coming up through Wanderers, I think just get out and play ball as opposed to fitness stuff.
Well, Tom, thanks very much for your time. That was actually really insightful, and it was great to hear the few unique points that you made about having a opponent on the pitch that you can kind of have a little competition with, and also the suggestion of get the ball in your hands as a kid. And thanks very much for your time, and happy Easter.
Thanks, William. Sure, fair play, and it's good for everyone in the club to have these things. So fair play to you.
Cheers, Tom. Thanks very much. See you now.